Oh, here we are. Oh, hi there.
Yo, what's going on? It's episode 8 now, right?
Oh, wow. We're getting up there. We're
Yeah,
learning.
almost in double digits. In case you didn't know by now, I'm Eric. I was supposed to change my name to just my first name.
Oh, right. I was going to do that too. Whatever.
Boom, that quick. And
I'm not bothering.
that's Shea,
Hi.
obviously. And this is Improv by Bright Invention.
And if you don't know that by reading the video description, what did you click on?
What are you doing?
Why are you here?
You're just
You
clicking
know
on
how to use the
things.
internet. You should know all of this. Anyway, our guest tonight we're very excited to have him here, a fellow improviser, not a member of Bright Invention, but one of our patrons, the lifeblood that keeps us going. If you're not a patron, you should be. And the link to that will be in the video description below. By the way, just putting it out there. You should join. You can start for as little as $2 a month. That's like half a coffee. You can forget about it entirely. But we won't. You'll be in our heart always. Okay. Out of that segue, we've got Rick Horner here today.
The Rick Horner.
The Rick Horner. The one and only. There might be other people with that name, but they're not this Rick. All right. Here he is.
Just my first. Yes.
Hello.
Rick, what is going on, man?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Pretty
Happy
good.
Tuesday to you.
Happy Tuesday. Thanks for having me.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes. I am personally excited to have you here. I knew you before all of this Bright Invention stuff.
And I didn't know that before
from
tonight.
From the Grape Room, when you did a musical duet about some girl that had a bad day, like someone spit on her, and you guys did like a 10-minute musical, and that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god.
So that was
musical
like
improv.
This guy's got the chops.
That was super fun.
Oh my god. Yes.
So we had been playing around with gets, and I decided let's get from the audience, like, what's something terrible that happened to you today? Because I had done a little bit of musical improv really long time ago, and our format was we had 2 songs we would play during the course of our short form set, one at the end of like the beginning of the intermission, and then one at the end of the show. And the first song was really bright, and the other song was a little like more downbeat. And so we just played around with the idea that for the downbeat one, we would sing a song that was really happy, and for the really bright one, we would sing about something that was sad. So I think that was like floating around in my head. And so I said, hey, you know what we should do? And I basically told them that was suggestical at the Grape Room. So that was Zach and Claire and I. And we always called ourselves a duo. And Zach was always like, yep, we're a duo. We're totally a duo. And it's like, there's 3 of us. That's ridiculous. I love it. We decided, I kind of sprung it on them. I'm like, how about for a get? We say, what's something terrible that happened to you today? And then we'll try and make something good out of it. And they were both like, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, we got the suggestion. Somebody got spit on was the suggestion.
That's terrible.
Yeah, which I was totally like, what?
Wait, are they in the service industry?
No, they were walking down the street and somebody spit on them.
God damn. That's awful and rare.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm like, if they're a waiter, I'm like, yeah, that happens.
Do people spit on waiters?
Through customer service, I'd imagine so. I basically, if a waiter said that a customer did that, I would in no way be surprised.
Okay.
I would be upset for them, but I'm like, that's not surprising. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That was an amazing feat.
Yeah.
And that you're the improv king in my book. So please let the audience know how you started with all this improv jazz.
Yeah, how'd you get into this?
So I was doing shows in college, regular like theater, productions. And there was a person that was the director of the shows that kept saying you should do improv. And I was like, I don't know what that means. That seems like a very nice sentence that you keep saying to me, and I don't know what that means. And so this was at Bucks County Community College when I was getting my associates. And he told me stories about, there was this friend of mine, and he did a bunch of improv. And I think, he moved to New York. I think he's still there. And it became this very like, it became this sort of like urban legend, kind of figure. And I didn't know that I was ever going to meet him. I had no idea. And then lo and behold, many years later, I don't know if you guys know Bill McLaughlin, but he does improv in Bucks County, and he moved back. And so I got to meet him, and it was very like, oh, I'm totally starstruck by you because I've heard all these like tales of yore that involve you, and stuff like that. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just a regular guy. I just happen to also be amazing. Super cool.
Yes, you do.
So I auditioned for and got into an improv group in Philly, and we I guess we practiced and did stuff together, not in front of an audience, for about 6 months, and we were kind of just trying to learn things and figure each other out and all that kind of stuff. It was a long form group, and then when we were supposed to have our first show, it was canceled last minute, and we were all bummed out about that. And then when we went back, we ended up doing a show anyway that night, but it was like supposed to be at 8 o'clock, and we did a show at midnight, and it was this whole crazy thing. And then the next show we were all excited for also got canceled. And when we came and it was canceled, everybody felt a certain kind of way about it, and we all went out onto the pavement, and it was very like final, weirdly for me, very final. We all went out on the pavement, and it was like, well, guys, there's no show tonight. And it's like, yep. All right. Well, it's been real. And I was like, wait, what's happening right now? Like, is this the end of the group? Like, that seems really weird. But my favorite thing was there was a guy in the group named Marcus, and this still stands as the best segue that I've ever seen. Marcus had a motorcycle, and he parked it in front of the coffee house where we had, we were going to do our show. And so everybody was just like, yeah, I guess this is it. I guess this is goodbye. And Marcus just turns to us and in a very like sort of this means something kind of way was like, I'm going to go to California. And we were all like, okay. And then he took a motorcycle helmet and he put it over his head and he walked over to his motorcycle and he got on. And I remember I was the only one that could get words to it. And I was like, wait, now? And he was sitting on his motorcycle and we were all like over here and he just went and drove away. He didn't say anything else. I was like, this is the most awesome moment ever.
What a Breakfast Club walk-off, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Eric, you have a motorcycle. You have to do that now at some point in your life. Just find a reason to just like exit left on a motorcycle.
It was so badass. And I was like, wait, now? You're on a motorcycle. Like, I feel like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you're going to drive now? Like, but I was like, all those questions just went away when he turned because everybody stopped and everybody was like, he's going to say something else. And then it was like, gone.
Yep.
And what an exit. I love it.
Into the night, never to be seen or heard from again.
Have
I don't
you
even
heard
care.
from him
No,
again?
never.
Okay.
You have. No, you haven't.
Yeah.
He's
So
gone.
I stopped doing improv after that because the group kind of dissolved. And then I started trying to sort of get back into it, but I was sort of like dipped a toe in. So then I went back into doing theater. And then I found out that I was going to get a promotion, but that I had to move to Richmond, Virginia to get promoted. So I was like, okay, that seems like it's kind of a cool town. So I did. And I was working a bunch. And I heard that there was an improv show on the other side of town. So I went to go see the improv show, and this was a group called Take 5. And they were supposed to be performing in the lobby of an existing theater, on the other side of town. So basically they were almost like, they were sort of like intermission, but they weren't intermission. They were a show, but they were like a show that was in the lobby of another theater. I just thought that was...
I was going to say, like, did they have permission to be there, or they were just like, okay, we're going to do this
Just
during intermission.
crashing it.
People show up.
And that's what's so cool. They had permission and they were,
Okay.
but it felt super rogue in the coolest way. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, this is really cool. So I show up for the show, and the person who ran the troupe was outside, like throwing boxes out or something like that, and was like, "Hi," and I was like, "Hi, is there gonna be a show?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Isn't there supposed to be an improv show tonight?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, it got canceled." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "But we have auditions next week if you want to come back for auditions." And I was like, that seems like a random thing to say to a random person. So I was like,
I was going to say, you
Just
could sense
asking.
it. An improv show is canceled, and you were like, I'm home.
yeah. So I went out for the audition. I was like, I don't really have the time to do this, but I'll go out. And everybody in the group was super lovely and super fun. And I remember we did Chain Death Murder, and I had to pass the Washington Monument to somebody else without using any words. And I totally did it. And I was like, I don't know how you got that from what I gave you. So that made me, gave me extra love. And they said I was in. So I got to play with them. And it was cool because Take Five did short form shows. And for me, my learning was, the things that I think are hilarious, other people don't think is funny. Got it. And that took a while to being in front of a crowd and doing what I thought was like the right thing to do, to get all that out of my system and be like, okay, I'm supposed to be here for the crowd. Got it. Got it. And I met a bunch of lovely people in the group. But two of the people in the group and I decided to go to Chicago and audition for the Second City, and we all three of us got in, and so we all did.
Nice.
That was awesome.
I have some friends I did improv with in college that went to Second City. It's fun. Touring company. Yeah.
Our weirdness was this happened to transpire in 2001. And we auditioned before and got into Second City after 9/11. And we were very affected by that. I distinctly remember I bought a city map. I didn't tell you guys this, but I used to be in the Army. I was in the Army when I was young. I took a city map and I mapped out escape routes from all of the major things that might get hit. And shared them with the guys. I remember sitting at a restaurant, here, I made this map. And they were both like, whoa, this is really serious. And it didn't seem as weird as obviously it does describing it now.
You sound like Alex Jones right now.
Yeah. It's totally a weird thing to talk about now, but was totally felt like the normal.
Yeah.
It was at the time. Yeah.
But it was really cool to see what's funny now. What is humor? What is the whole thing? And it was really cool to see the way it was being done wrong and the way that it was being done right, because they were both really informative.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's very, very interesting. I was gonna say, you missed the birthday episode where Ben and I talked about 9/11 for most of the improv because it's our birthday. Oh, wow. And we talked about that from that lens, which is completely opposite, different lens of two very removed experiences. I was also just a child, which experiencing major events from a child's ridiculous lens is both funny, but also kind of wow, you really no idea. But yeah, so it's interesting to hear just totally different perspective, and and the moment there, it's that's not a crazy thing to do. We just experienced this attack, and of course if you have the kind of ability and to make that kind of tactical plan with maps, be that's a good thing to have.
I was a cartographer, so I was a map maker. So I was
then that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It was just another day, for you. I'm sure you do that with when we go into Pathmark, we're going to hit the Captain Crunch, then we're going to hit the cheese, then the milk. Plan
one of those real life moments when an obscure skill you never thought you'd have to use again, and suddenly you're this isn't handy, I can do this.
Yep.
You get very overexcited and everyone else is oh damn, okay then. But
it was way too serious, but fitting for that moment where it was here's our plan from the Sears Tower, yada yada yada, and it was got it.
I was
and did you have trained people with you, or people that could definitely follow orders?
No, there was just
it's an improv troupe.
No,
just three of us.
I'd watch that movie. I would watch that movie though.
Because I've played, my cousin's in the Army, and we've played laser tag together, and he was all right, you're going to be alpha team. You go this way. And then the second we break apart, everybody just does their own thing. Nobody pays attention.
I would want to watch a disaster movie in which there's just a group of just comedians, but only one person has actual army training, trying to get out of an actual disaster movie situation, but only one person's competent.
I can
Everyone else is just funny.
With a fair degree of predictability, percentage-wise, that's 100% better than most of the ideas that are being televised on a lot of other networks. There's a thing now where you have to guess how bad somebody sings or something is a new
I saw the commercial for that.
Yeah.
What?
I'm like, what?
It's they make reality shows about
It's crazy.
nothing.
Your idea is lovely compared to that one. For example, like
it's great. Shea had another great. I watched a movie over the weekend called Shark Lake.
Oh, right.
It's about a shark being in a lake, obviously. But then Shea said it should be like Swan Lake, but with sharks.
But like reverse mermaid shark.
Yes.
So just think like ballerina legs with a tutu, and then just the top half of a great white shark, and then instead of like all the arm parts of a ballet, it's just little fins.
I would like that.
Yeah.
That sounds infinitely better than the not singing show and the actual Shark Lake movie. I don't understand. Like everything's reality TV now.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to write it. You just have to have drama.
You do write it though. You do.
Well, it's suggested.
The producers make an outline and then get the cast drunk and manipulate them into following the outline.
Like I used to watch Jersey Shore. I'll admit that. But like, who fights this much? Like, who goes out and fights every single time you go out? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you would get tired of it at some point.
No, you have a producer in your corner, like a little coach, like boxing ring, and they're massaging your shoulders. They've got like water, but it's not. It's just straight vodka in a water bottle, and they're like, "Get back out there, champ!" Yeah.
Except they're your life coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gelling you up in the corner instead of putting like the Vaseline in your face, doing your hair up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
all right. So I wheeled you backwards in time, backward to Chicago. I left Chicago and came back to this area in 2002, and I started doing improv. There really wasn't much improv in Philadelphia. It wasn't an improv town, pretty much at all. I think there were like 3 groups around at that point, and I had just experienced being in Chicago where there was like tons of people doing stuff.
everything.
So I started meeting people, like, let's form a group, let's do a duo, let's do this, and trying to attend other people's shows and be like super cheerleadery. I was trying to sort of fill all the like gaps that I thought existed. And I got into a short form group and I got into a long form group, and I was doing both. And I started really thinking it would be really cool if all, which was 3, of the long form groups got together and did a show. And so in the beginning part of 2005, and I think it was February 14th of 2005, we did a show called The Three-Way at the Rotunda at 40th and Walnut.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It was Rare Bird Show, Lunch Lady Doris, and The Cabal. I was in The Cabal. And we just had so many people come out, and so much good stuff came out of that. There was like 120 people at the show.
Nice.
I love that. I love giant group improv like that. Like that I got in college with my school hosted ComFest every year. Okay. COM Comedy Festival. ComFest. Except for all the comedians, because that's when a bunch of nerdy comedians from a bunch of different colleges all get together for one giant weekend. And but it was, getting to do collaborations with other groups. Like usually they just have a fun time where you do like a giant, massive game of freeze on like the proscenium main stage with 5 or 6 other improv groups of people from other places. And it's wild and so much fun. And the biggest group impulse that happened was just a moment where we didn't know how we were going to end the giant game of group freeze. We were just told by this girl named Kelsey, who was running the light board. We're like, how are we going to end the game? She's like, I'm going to make a signal. What's the signal going to be? You won't miss it. So we're just like, yes, and we go and we do this giant game of group freeze with like 50 something people. And the signal we'll get it is the lights. She just changes the music to something weird and flickers, makes it do weird dim things, and just without talking about it, everybody just collectively decides okay, in slow motion, we are all going to melt to the floor like a wave of human magma and then just crawl to the end of the stage and off of it. Just as a group, silently, we're like, we're all gonna do this. Do it. And then just around like when the front of the group is going to melt into the front row, we just black out the lights.
Nice.
And that's how we ended it, with nothing. I was like, that was pure improv with the most people at once.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yep. That's on YouTube somewhere, but I don't know where it is.
Well, we can find it. I'm sure everybody listening and watching can find it. And you know what else they can find? The Bright Invention webpage, brightinvention.org. Also, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and most importantly, the Patreon.
Yes,
You can find
I already
all the
talked
Bright
about
Invention goods and services, like the classes. And
Like
the
classes.
workshops.
Speaking of which, there's lots of classes happening, but I'm going to talk about one that will be starting, I believe, around the time this is airing, and not too late to sign up. You can still sign up. It is pay what you can, aka free if you need it to be, but otherwise, throw us something.
Don't take advantage.
I'm doing this for tips, but Amiee Goldstein and I are teaching Improv 1, and it's pay what you can. So if you ever thought, I might want to try improv, this looks fun, but I can't go anywhere and also can't afford a class, now is the time. Now is your time. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to leave your house. It's on Zoom. No excuses.
This is already moving in the direction of an infomercial. Can we just make this?
Yeah.
For 3 easy payments.
I wish I could do improv, but I just can't seem to figure it out. Oh, I wish there was something that could help me.
Well, good sir,
I
got a solution for you. Yeah, right. Say we need like clip art, lettering, like word art, Microsoft Word saying prices, and for only a phone number.
Have you ever been asked a simple question and couldn't answer? Hi, would you like fries with that? Good. Sign up for the improv class. We'll teach you how to respond to simple questions.
Love it.
With entertaining bullshit that came from your brain.
So, Rick, how you been holding up? Like, you've been doing shows and stuff during all this? I hate talking about quarantine and COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
we're all dealing with it. But how have
it's changed improv?
How have you been improving during all?
I actually do. Yeah, I do think it's going to continue to change improv. I don't think we've figured it out all the way yet, but I think some interesting stuff is on the way. 2 weeks ago, I did you probably can't fully see it, but if I flex as though my chest, I'm wearing my vintage improv festival shirt. I did a whole bunch of shows. Mostly what I do, I run the incubator weekly, and I do a lot of facilitating. I have a group, LCR Improv, and so I have folks that I work with and play with, but I mainly in a facilitator's role. So I'm mainly teaching and or setting up people for shows or hosting, that kind of stuff. I don't get to play as much as I would like to, and I got involved in the Vintage Improv Festival. Super awesome. I started taking a class online, and I got to perform with the class with David Rosowski, who's kind of like, he's like an improv like superstar, on Friday night of the festival. On Saturday, I was faculty, so I was part of the faculty jam, but I actually co-hosted the faculty jam instead of playing in with all those folks, and that was super fun because we all had no sense at the last minute of exactly what we wanted to do, so it became this like huge dumpster fire of trying to put the format together, which was amazing and lovely, and of course everybody in it was terrific. So
that's when the best improv happens.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday I got to perform twice at 7 o'clock, once at 8 o'clock, once at 9 o'clock, and then I hosted at 10 o'clock. So for the festival, there were two innovation troupes that were formed. So I was music director and played in a musical improv group called Farrago. And I was a player in a group called Timeless that was a devised world. So I was a character called R-Zook, meaning running zucchini. And I was the talent booker at a club called the Double Nickel Rooftop actually the Double Nickel virtual rooftop lounge and bar, which
Sounds
going from
fancy.
Love it.
being a real place. And then I did I did 2 intensives over the weekend. And so the 2 of the 8 and the 9 o'clock shows, I got to perform at the intensive. So the first one was a pretend news show.
Love that. Fake
So we
news.
were all like reporters and stuff in the news. That was super cool. That was Dina Chris's news show that she put together, and Dina Chris's intensive. And then I was also on a Liz Allen intensive, and we created a form called the Vintage, which was very
Okay.
but we got to do kind of like a bit of a Harold. So I was like, oh, this is so good. I got to do all this improv.
I was gonna say what makes the vintage improv vintage, and then okay, you did.
So all the improvisers in the Vintage have to be 50 or older.
Even better. That's really cool.
You're 50 years old?
Hard to believe, right?
Yeah, you look so, girl, you look good.
Say.
Oh, thanks. I was 50. 50 was a while ago.
Well, go see.
But it's good to see you still out here doing the thing, man, and helping people, learn the craft.
We're just gonna let you all in on a little secret. Improv makes you immortal. It's the fountain of youth.
True.
Improv and like just being a British theater actor, you just never age.
It's true. Yeah, my 2 favorite things. I'm super into like diversity and inclusion. I love the idea of like, let's get equipment into people's hands so that more people can be involved in improv, because I don't think that there's like a certain flavor of person that makes one an improviser.
Absolutely.
There are limiters. There's like limitations on things, but I think they're either self-imposed or they're like things that aren't like artistic things. Like if you don't have a computer, you can't log in and do Zoom. If we could just give computers to people, that would be amazing, because everybody that I see is on some cool path that I'm always like, I love this path that they're on. Like they're either, I'm not confident and I have a ton of skills, or I'm very confident and I don't have a lot of skills yet, or, some combination. And it's like, I love the growth and seeing people like getting a little more confident and doing
Absolutely.
It's so cool. So diversity and inclusion is huge for me. And I mean, for me, like I've started saying recently, like I'm on this spread love kick that I'm just like, when I did the intensives, what I said in there was, I was like, okay, I just, because you have to introduce yourself. Everybody go, introduce yourself. That's always like, and I was like, so I just want to say, like, I love everybody. Like, I'm not going to force you to do something that then I'm going to be like, oh, I love you. Like, this is Zoom. This is happening now. We need to be
right.
Here, right? So I'm just like, I'm going to say this out right now. I already love you. Like, let's just.
Yeah, you don't have to earn this. You've got it already.
You got it. Yeah.
Play.
I'm sure people appreciate that.
And honestly, I get that from Bright Invention. I get that feeling of like, we love you, come. And so
yes!
that attracted me. So yeah.
That is what we are about. That is what we do. And we love having you in playgrounds. So you say you don't have a lot of places to just come play. Improv playgrounds, which if you are a patron at the $5 level or above, you have access to the playground every Wednesday. We just play games. It's not improv class, it's improv recess.
Shea with the injury timeout ad break. I like it.
Boom! I'm getting good at this. Product placement for our own stuff.
It's like improv. I talk to people about it and they're like, oh, I could never do that.
Yes, you
When
can.
you sit around with your friends and you're just drinking and you're saying, hey, your head is big or whatever, and you're giving each other crap, you're improving.
Yeah.
I think people are more afraid of the spotlight than actually doing it. Because you can do it when you, like how they say, dance like nobody's looking. It's like that. Like you can do it when you don't think you're going to be judged. Because when you get on stage, that spotlight's really bright.
Yeah.
Like it's 1,000 times brighter than how it looks. But once you get up there and you zone out, you kind of forget the audience is there.
It's like a psychological hump.
That's how I try to encourage people. Like, you do this already. You're just doing it in front of people. And you'll get laughs.
People say that they're nervous, and you're like, well, what are you nervous about? And I feel like the number one thing people say is like, oh, well, what if I can't think of anything to say? And I'm always like, I mean, does that happen to you all the time? Like, is that
yeah.
And people are like, what? No.
Which is funny because even if it is, that's something that you can learn in an improv class to improve, because even as I say, that's not a natural thing you're born with. That's a muscle you learn to work.
Totally.
You know, it's just, and you know, whether you're doing it just hanging out with your friends or doing it on a stage or doing it over Zoom, it's kind of like, I'm gonna put on my little nerd hat for a moment, but you know, it's like using the force when you're just like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're lifting a rock or, you know, the X-wing, that's just, that difference is in your head. If you're bantering with your friends or bantering in front of people, you know, the only real difference is, you know, your own fear of being seen.
So you're making me think of a plug. I hang on.
Yes.
I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah, get your plug. You make sure you get your plugs in too.
Yeah, I got a plug for when you're talking about. I don't have it here to be able to like hold it up.
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah, we'll put in the description
It's
below.
not a plug for me, but it totally fits with what you were just saying.
Tell us.
Barry Carpenter from Comedy Sports wrote a lovely, inexpensive, really good improv book, and it's based on tying improv and the force together throughout the entire.
I need to read this. I need it in my life.
It's very like it's I would call it like short, but in a good way, like succinct and very digestible, and everything that's in there, like every sentence, I'm like, oh yeah, right, yeah, like I'm doing like the head shaking thing where it's like,
yeah, as you're just reading on your phone or on your Kindle, yeah.
It's so I'm assuming we're talking about Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna act too cool. I did just watch all the Star Wars movies, so
yeah. I was gonna say.
I don't know why every third one in a series stinks, but they just do. I'm sorry.
I was like, oh, I thought Return of the Jedi was bad, but no. Then I saw other third movies in that.
It's terrible.
No.
It's bad.
No,
it's
not,
bad.
not the worst one.
I'm trying to think, what was the edit? I'm gonna search for this.
We don't need me to go on a rant right now. Eric, you're trying to egg me into starting a rant that will take up so much time.
You're about to go on a Robin Williams rant right now. No, you
I'm not doing it. I'm keeping it inside.
What are you gonna say? What is it, Rick?
I was gonna say, do you guys know about McClunky?
No, what's McClunky?
No.
Yeah, so I'm not like huge Star Wars, but I'm like pretty mid-level. In the George Lucas keeps editing and changing stuff and picking scenes. So when they put A New Hope onto Disney Plus, when Greedo is sitting across the chair from Han Solo, he says McClunky, which apparently means something in his language or whatever. But when it first came out, nobody described it. It was just like an edit.
No subtitle.
Yeah, no subtitle, whatever. So he's just like, it's that scene, and the whole thing's about like who shot first and everything.
Right? Yeah.
Like, oh, what are they going to do with this scene, whatever? And then everything's like the way that it was. But right before he gets shot, he goes, McClunky. I kind of love how bizarre. I love how bizarre.
What's that? What does that mean?
Yeah,
doesn't need to mean anything.
What is that?
Do your homework. Check it out, people. It's worth.
Yeah.
It sounds like an Irish pub.
I was gonna say there's one in like Ardmore called McCloskey's, and that's just.
It's close enough.
It's like I like their mushroom soup. No.
You would think that that's probably what an alien is thinking about as he's getting shot in a bar.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
a different pub.
He could be at McClunky's right now. That's some weird bar with elephants playing tambourines.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so here's my plug. My plug is I got into the St. Louis Improv Festival.
Okay.
Ooh.
Awesome.
I'm doing a one-man show, which, yay.
That's awesome.
One-man musical. So I am going to do a musical by myself. I will be accompanied by doing the thing where you share music on Zoom. And I'm going to use, there's a 2 CDs called Improv Karaoke that are basic like accompaniment and stuff like that from Laura Hall from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, nice.
So I was like, this was my plan, I was like, I'm going to do this thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put the tracks together beforehand. So I'm just going to pick a bunch of random tracks because I have like silence MP3s so that I don't have to travel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm just going to hit play, and every once in a while a song is going to come on, and I don't know what song it's going to be. So I'm just going to figure it out and, sing through it.
Oh, I love that.
So I found out that Laura Hall is going to be part of the St. Louis Festival.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
That's either gonna be great or kind of awkward because she's gonna be like, "Is that?"
So I wrote to her.
that
I
mine?
found her email and I wrote to her and I was like, "Hi, I'm thinking of doing this thing. Is that okay?" And she was so sweet. She wrote back. She's like, "Yep, it's totally okay. That's what it's for."
That's cool.
Like, yay!
Oh, good. Yeah, that would have
Damn,
been
that's gonna
awkward
be
if she was
awesome.
like, "Actually, no."
Right.
But that's awesome.
I
Yeah, I
will
was gonna say,
sue
how do
you.
you do
I will
one
sue
man
you.
musical improv if you're not just like? My first thought was one man band, where you got like the whole thing, and
The
you've got
symbols in
like
between your knees.
yeah, the cymbals in between your knees. It's got a harmonica. You've got a tuba in there somehow, piano. Yeah.
When
I
is
don't
this?
play any musical instrument.
When is this happening, Rick? So people.
So this will
can,
be
tune in.
this Saturday, September 26th. It's 7:10 Central because St. Louis is Central, so it'll be about a little bit after 8 o'clock on Saturday night. So it's a pretty good time slot.
I just realized we are going to be airing this, so this is coming from when we're talking Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I think by the time this
You've already
airs,
missed
it will have
this.
happened.
I'll still
We'll
plug
have
it.
talked about it. Yeah,
I'll still plug it.
We'll still plug it because that sounds cool. And also, we also have, I believe, asteroids at that time too. So there's just all things happening, but I believe at least asteroids will be broadcast onto Facebook anyway.
So all
which
of
means
this,
that you can
that
still
you're
watch
hearing,
everything.
We've already done that show. It's like
Time
but it's
travel.
like it's like Interstellar. Like
Got
we're
it.
behind the bookcase right now, so we're seeing what's not happening, but it is happening. It already happened.
Yep.
Cool.
You're seeing it as it's happening, but you think it hasn't happened.
Cool.
I was just gonna let you go with that for as long as you needed to.
I was just trying to picture Interstellar in my mind, and
Very
Yeah.
It's pretty end gamey. Yeah, gotcha.
yeah.
Yep.
But this was
Yeah.
awesome. What do you have any other plugs, Rick?
LCR Improv on Facebook. There's amazingness there. The Improv Incubator happens Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
That's on the web. It's also on Meetup, Improv Incubator. The Sunday one is 4 p.m. Eastern. The Tuesday one is 6:30 Eastern. And the Thursday one is 8:30 Eastern. And they all run at different times.
I
Sundays
like that.
is run by Pete, who's lovely. Tuesdays is run by me. Jason runs the Thursday Cambridge Incubator. So they came and saw a Philly incubator, loved it, and built one in Cambridge. They all used to
That's
be
so cool.
places, but now they're all virtual. So they're all lovely. If you want some improv, reps, some reps, you can hop on there. They're all, free by donation, suggested. So they're all lovely. I think that's it to plug for right now. I have a class that I'm going to be running starting in October, but I don't have the details to share yet. But it'll be like an intro to improv course that I'm going to be running through LCR in October.
We can always
all of these options. Everyone, you have all of these options. Now is the time. Get
no
into
excuse. What are you gonna sit at home and watch The Office for the 12th time in a row?
Yeah.
Come on. Get out there and do something. Do something with your life.
That's
I'm like a
it.
disappointed dad right now.
And by get out there and do something, we mean
Stay home.
session at home.
Yes. Don't actually go out and do something.
Don't actually.
Yeah, improv. Yeah, in-person improv doesn't work yet, unless there was just like people quarantined in a hotel for an extended period of time for like a film set. Be the world's most entertaining hotel if like there was just different improv groups on every floor. Get like a Sleep No More type experience where some like audience sort of travels around, everyone's just doing bits.
That would be way cooler than I always thought. Like, what if what if there was like an awards show for improv, which there was in Philly for a little while. I don't know if you guys know about the Witouts, but the Witouts
I do
was
not.
an award show in Philadelphia. That's a fun thing to look up. But the idea of an improv hotel where each floor has different people groups are in rooms. I love that.
That sounds pretty cool.
It'd be so fun. Walk around.
Hey, you have great ideas.
She's an idea machine.
I was gonna say, I just come up with lots of ideas all the time and follow through on very few of them.
She's like Tom Hanks in Big when he got older. They was wondering, how do you know so much about toys? It's like she's the kid at heart,
Yep.
She's an idea machine.
I was gonna say, if someone just wants to
You're a human, yes.
give other people Yep, that is. I'm like, what is the name of the? I have this improv app on my phone because Jay told me what it is. What is it called?
Improv now.
Oh, did I actually? Oh, I had to take it off because there's not enough memory on my phone. But there's one that's just an app full of prompts and idea generators. But I'm like, I'm just like that.
Oh yeah, I just real quick, I did Google McClunky. It's a word that can be roughly translated as "this will be the end of you." Hence why it's funny and ironic that it was Greedo's last word. That sounds like complete BS.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that sounds like straight BS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said what? Oh, all right. We gotta damage control. It means this will be the end of you.
Clunky is derived from the Irish lunky, which means to give up, and then key means the end. So give up the end. So that can mean the end of you.
See, you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah, I'm linking it all together. I got the pictures.
I was gonna say this is like your
strings in between them.
Your conspiracy theory character that you do on Facebook.
Yes.
Connect the dots, people.
Yep.
Don't be a sheep.
That would be a great improv game. Again, I'm just ideas, yeah. but an improv game that's just make up a conspiracy theory, get a bunch of unrelated gets from the audience, and then put it together.
I love it.
I'm willing to do that this weekend. I'm gonna do that.
Except you can't do it in like a normal frame of mind. You have to drink you have to not sleep and then have 15 cups of coffee.
That is.
Then see where it takes you.
That's interdimensional at that point. Like you're not existing on any natural plane. Like you're everywhere but nowhere.
Yeah. Until you vibrate. Yeah, until you vibrate into another plane of existence.
Yeah, I want to play this for sure.
Let's do it.
Playground, but I want to play with you.
I was gonna say.